everybody? Welcome to the GSMC Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. My name is Samantha Genzer. I'm going to be your show host for you guys. I hope everyone had a great weekend, and I am so excited to get back started off with these podcasts. We have a lot to cover today, and I am so excited to talk about everything with y'all. So we're going to be covering the predictions on Indiana Fever in the remaining 2025 WNBA season, the top 10 best women's MMA fighters, the 2024 Core Hydration Classics, the USA VNL team, and then make sure you stay till the end of the show to hear about the Mizuho Americas Open and women's golf. Before we start, I would like to ask that you like and follow the show, and you can become a part of our show by tipping and donating. Your support means a lot to us. Also, we do get a number of questions that come in from viewers during the show, so to ensure that your questions get read on the air, I ask that you use the link gsmcpodcast.net with your questions. This puts your questions at the top of the list so that I see them and they get read on the air, and also, of course, it really helps the show. Once again, the link is gsmcpodcast.net. Okay, now that we got that out of the way, let's get started, and I hope you guys enjoy today's content. We're going to first be starting off talking about the predictions on Indiana Fever and the rest of the WNBA season for the year 2025. I have a lot to say about the Indiana Fever, so I'm excited to talk about this. So, as we know, Indiana Fever has experienced some struggles in recent WNBA seasons. Over the past few years, the Fever has often found themselves near the bottom of the league standings. For example, during the 2020 season, they posted a 6-16 record, and similar challenges persisted into the 2021 and 2022 seasons, where they continued to struggle with their overall performance. Now, in the 2023 season, the Fever continued to face similar challenges, and they worked through their rebuilding phase pretty much. Like previous years, the team struggled to climb up from the bottom of the league standings, reflecting this ongoing issues with consistency and team dynamics. Despite these struggles, the Fever remained focused on developing their young roster, aiming to harness the potential of their recent draft picks and younger players, and as we know, they now have Caitlin Clark on their roster. Overall, the Fever has gone 30-100 in the past 4 years combined and hasn't made the playoff in the past 7 seasons. But Indiana Fever now has had consecutive number 1 draft picks, with forward Aliyah Boston in 2023 and guard Caitlin Clark this year. The 3 previous WNBA franchises to get back-to-back number 1 picks went on to win the WNBA championship within 4 years. The Seattle Storm did it twice, and the Las Vegas Aces have won each of the past 2 titles. The Aces, in fact, had 3 number 1 picks in a row. The Fever nearly matched that. They had a number 2 selection, forward Nalissa Smith, in 2022 before drafting Boston and Clark. The influx of premier talent lifted the Seattle and Las Vegas franchises quickly, regardless of how much the teams previously had struggled. Many of the number 1 picks were transcendent players, and getting 2 in a row was a double jackpot for them. For the franchises that won titles after getting consecutive number 1 picks, those players led their games in scoring in the championship seasons. But last season's 13-27 record was a big improvement after winning just 17 games combined the previous 3 seasons. Christy Sides, now in her 2nd season as head coach, said the Fever can build on the higher standard that was set. So Caitlin Clark being on the team, in my opinion, isn't going to make the team now 10 times better. Basketball is a team sport. You can't just add 1 person and then expect the team to be amazing. But of course, I have faith that with Clark on the team, the Fever will be performing a lot better than they did last season and the last couple of seasons. But if you look at how Clark has recently played with the Fever, it does make me a bit more worried for the team. Like, maybe Clark isn't the right fit on this team, or maybe she won't be contributing as much as we would hope she would have. So, if we just look at the first 2 games, Clark did not do so well compared to how we have seen her play at the University of Iowa. During her time there, Clark led the NCAA in scoring and was a consensus All-American. So we went over how Clark did in her first 2 games. I talked about it in my last episode, and then I also talked about it last week as well. of her first game. And I mean, I had a lot more of an analysis there. So if you're interested in hearing that, you should go check out those videos. But for now, we're just gonna talk very quickly like about her first 2 games. So in her first game, the Fever went against the Connecticut Sun and lost 92-71. Clark scored a total of 20 points, which is really great. She drilled each of her 4 3-pointers, but Connecticut forced her into a game-high 10 turnovers among 25 Fever giveaways and kept her to just a trio of assists. She picked up a pair of touch fouls in the first quarter, leading to an early break on the bench. Clark didn't score her first points until there was 5 minutes and 24 seconds left in the second quarter, which is pretty unusual for her. Now, although Fever coach Christy Side said Clark wasn't to blame for all the 10 turnovers, it is still strange that Clark did all these turnovers, if that makes sense. Even though the Sun had defensive plans that really targeted Clark, it was unusual to see her struggle so much, especially considering the 10 turnovers just in general. I mean, I think overall the game really showed the over-the-top expectations were for Clark, but for like a lot of fans, including myself, we're surprised to see the 10 turnovers, even though that 20 points she scored were amazing. It just wasn't her best debut game, really. Then in her next game, she did play better, but she just didn't seem like the player that we saw in the Iowa games. Indiana Fever and the New York Liberty went head-to-head in Fever's second game, and the Fever had a really, really disappointing loss. The Liberty dominated the game in a win of 102-66. Clark played 30 minutes in this game, scored 9 points, had 7 rebounds, 6 assists, and 1 block. She only had 3 turnovers this game, which is a huge improvement from the 10 she had during her debut game. But here's the thing, she scored 9 points, and that's a low for Clark, and she hasn't scored that low of points since her freshman year at the University of Iowa. And then in her most recent game, Clark dropped 22 points and 8 assists against the New York Liberty. This was a career high score for Clark, so that's really, really, really good to see. But still, the Fever lost the game. Clark does seem to be improving, though. First game, her total points were good, but she did rough in turnovers. Second game, her score wasn't great, but she did well in turnovers. And then the third game, she did well in both scoring and in turnovers. Seeing this improvement for Clark is a really good sign, but the fact that the Fever does not have a single win this season at all, of course, is not a good sign for the team, at all. Despite not doing well in the beginning of the season, the Fever did pretty well in their preseason games, though. On May 3rd, the Fever lost to the Dallas Wings in the preseason game, but the final score was 79-76, so obviously it was a very, very close game. Clark scored 21 points this game, so it was a good first game for her to play with the Fever. And then their second preseason game on May 9th, the Fever beat the Atlanta Dream with a final score of 83-80. Still, this is a very, very close game, but winning the game shows that they have that potential to win more games in the season. So now we're going to focus on something else that will affect how the Fever does in the upcoming games, the teammates' attitudes and relationships. And I'm pretty shocked to see some of the things that are going on off the court. A lot of people don't pay much attention to the team's relationships and dynamics off the court because it seems that wouldn't play into effect as much. I mean, you wouldn't really think it would, but it actually does, and we have seen that a lot of times in the WNBA. After Clark's first game, her debut game, she remained optimistic, emphasizing the importance of learning from the experience and not dwelling too much on one bad game. It wasn't a bad game, but one not her best game, This is really good to see for her. She also was frustrated during the game, and Aliyah Boston came over and encouraged her with some tough love. So seeing that relationship is positive for the team. Boston knows how it feels to be a rookie. She was a rookie the previous year, so it's good to see that relationship. However, there still have been some conflicts on the team that are very notable. I just went Australian accent right there. We all know Caitlin Clark is a very, very competitive basketball player. Most amazing basketball players are extremely competitive. That's what drives them. But there are some downfalls to being extremely competitive. It can start conflicts with teammates and can make you put a lot of pressure on yourself. WNBA legend Sue Bird explained that Clark's issue in her performance is because of the pressure and weight of being in the WNBA. That makes a lot of sense. This is a different league with different challenges, players, levels, and expectations. So that's an issue for Clark, that she has a lot of new pressure on her, and hopefully she will be able to get through all that pressure. And on top of it, she has so much media attention. So just having that extra weight and knowing that everyone's watching you at all time is obviously very stressful. Another issue is the lack of mental toughness among the players, according to a recent press conference from Coach Christy Sides. So another issue is that during the recent games against the New York Liberty, it seemed that Clark was showing a lack of confidence in her teammates. Coach Sides and Clark had a conversation on the bench during the game. The conversation took place right after the Liberty called a timeout in response to a Temi Fagbenel layup off an assist from Clark. She dropped a beautiful pass from Clark a few plays prior, so it was just like not a good moment for, it was a moment. Anyway, that's not the important part of the story. Basically, the mic picked up Christy Sides saying something, and this is not like 100% what Coach Sides was saying, but this is what it seemed like she was saying. So she was heard saying, 100%, we will just give them time. And although whatever Caitlin Clark said to prompt that response did not get picked up by the mics, and it looked like she said something like, we need to catch the ball or they can't catch the ball. I'm not saying that's 100% what she said, but that is what the mics seem to pick up. That's just what I found in some sources. So that's where I'm getting that information from. I'm not saying that I'm like a professional lip reader or something, I promise. I mean, it would make total sense if the latter was speaking to her teammates' inability to catch the ball at that moment. As the Fever continue their season, the development of team cohesion and mental resilience will be critical factors in turning their performance around, really. And this whole interaction was quite a sign of a lack of mental resilience within the team and just teamwork in general and cooperation. The Indiana Fever, having faced a series of challenging seasons, have shown signs of potential that could be harnessed to rebuild and revive their team. Looking forward, the Fever's performance will likely hinge on several critical factors. With the inclusion of high-caliber draft picks like Boston and Clark, the Fever has a solid foundation of young talent. The key to success will be how effectively the coaching staff can develop these players, integrating their skills into a cohesive team strategy. Both Boston and Clark have shown potential to significantly impact the game, and nurturing their abilities could turn the team's fortunes around. Also, basketball is as much about team dynamics as it is about individual talents. For the Fever, fostering a positive and supportive team environment will be crucial. This involves not only developing on-court chemistry, but also ensuring that players support each other off the court. Building a strong team spirit and a culture of mutual respect can enhance performance, particularly in high-pressure situations. Coach Christy Sides and her coaching staff have a pivotal role in shaping the team strategies. We know that they need to focus on leveraging the team's strengths, such as their young guards' agility and shooting capabilities, especially Clark's, while also addressing weaknesses like defensive lapses and turnover rates. Strategic adjustments, perhaps incorporating more dynamic defensive schemes or focusing on fast break opportunities, could be beneficial. By focusing on these areas, I think that the Indy Fever can hope to rebuild a competitive and resilient team that not only improves in the standings, but also rekindles that passion and excitement of their championship winning days. So we're now going to talk about the top 10 best women's MMA fighters. Before we do so, we are going to be taking a very short break, so I will see you guys very soon.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.
I wanna be the greatest. Everybody on the fake shit. I look around and feel like everybody is the fakest. I make this every day and I'm impatient, hoping one day I blow up from the basement. Statement, the top is so vacant. I don't hear shit that I think is amazing. Waiting for my day when I'm playing sold out shows for 1,000 faces. Hey, give me that crown, get in my way and to be put down. It ain't your place, all this my town. If I want that shit, then I'll get it right now. I'm losing it, the noose it fits. I'm losing shit, a stupid myth. You choose to live or choose to dip. You choose to fight or lose your grip and lose a gift.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.
Hello everybody, welcome back. So we just got done talking about predictions on Indiana Fever and the rest of the WNBA 2025 season. We're now going to switch over to talking about the top 10 best women's MMA fighters. Before we begin, I do want to remind you guys to like and follow the show. Also, to become a part of our show, that you can tip and donate using the link gsmcpodcast.net. This also puts your questions at the top of the list so that I see them and will be read on the air and answered and everything. Once again, the link is gsmcpodcast.net. Your support means a lot to us, of course. Now that we got that out of the way, we are going to start talking about the top 10 best women's MMA fighters. I'm very excited to go over this. I'm going to share or rank my top 10 fighters in MMA in a down order of top 10 to 1 because that's more fun. We're going to do that. So making that clear. So at number 10 is Sarah Kaufman. Sarah Kaufman started her MMA career in 2006 and soon became a household name in Strikeforce. Kaufman entered the MMA world through the ranks of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and earned her brown belt in 2011. Did I say melt or belt? Belts. I'm sorry. Sometimes I literally will say something and I hear myself, but I'm like, did I say that right or not? So brown belts in 2011. The notable achievements of her career included a Strikeforce Bantamweight Championship, and she became the first woman to win it, actually. Kaufman continued to exhibit her skill set in various organizations, including a brief stint in the UFC. An Invicta FC Bantamweight Championship reign added superiority to her MMA accolades. She finished her career with an overall record of 22-5-1. There we go. I'm so sorry. 11 KO. I want to highlight two things about Kaufman that, really stand out to me as her fighting career. One, she was the only hardcore championship fighting women's bantamweight champion, and also she became the Women's Fighter of the Year in 2009. Next, at number 9 is Megumi Fuji. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that correctly. I believe she's the best submission MMA fighter. I mean, she introduced the famous submission move Megu Lock, so it would make sense that she is. Fuji began her MMA training when she was very, very young. She trained wrestling and submission moves a lot, and she was a black belt in jiu-jitsu. Her career record is 26-3, 1 KO. The career highlight of Fuji remains her 19 submission victories, which is a record for any female MMA fighter. Fuji mostly worked in small promotions in Japan before getting a break in Bellator, where she won 3 straight fights before losing the final 2. Also, Fuji remained undefeated in her first 22 MMA fights, and she also had a black belt in judo. I think it's called judo. I hear people say it like both ways, so I am so sorry if that's judo or jodo. I really think it's judo though. Anyway, number 8 is Miesha Tate. She is mainly known as the former UFC Bantamweight champion. She became the Female Fighter of the Year in 2011 and was also a purple belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Tate began her MMA career in 2007 but became prominent after her defensive victory against Alana Maxwell at Strikeforce debut. Tate... I'm so sorry. I just choked on my own spit. I'm sorry. I promise I'm not a mess. Anyway, moving on. Tate proved her worth in Strikeforce and won the Strikeforce Bantamweight champion. However, she could not defend it successfully and lost the belt to Ronda Rousey in a very historical and known fight. She won the UFC Bantamweight champion in 2016 and entered the list of few women fighters who have won the Bantamweight title in both promotions. She is an active fighter with a career record of 20-9, 4 KO. At number 7 is Rose Namajunas, who is a 2-time UFC strawweight champion. Namajunas became Woman Fighter of the Year twice in 2017 and 2021. She also is the first person ever to beat Joanna Jędrzejczyk. I'm sorry, I am so bad at pronouncing last names, especially Joanna Jędrzejczyk. We will be talking about her later. Just a little preview. Anyway, back to Rose Namajunas. So with her footwork and striking technique, Namajunas surprised many UFC fighters throughout her career. Her overall career record is 11-6, 2 KO, and continuous. So she's still going. And then for number 6, we have Holly Holm, also known as the first woman ever to beat Ronda Rousey. This is where she got her fame from, really. She defeated Rousey at UFC 193. She has also had successful boxing and kickboxing careers too. She won the Boxing World Championships in 3 different weight divisions and was the inaugural Legacy FC Women Bantamweight champion. Also, being a boxer helped her a lot in hitting, and she became one of the hardest hitters among women UFC fighters. Holm never backed off from difficult opponents and fought all the famous stars in the UFC. Her career record is 15-6-1, 8 KO, but she's not finished yet, as we know. Her right and left punching and kicking combinations at a high acceleration put her on the list of the top female fighters for sure. Now at 5, we mentioned her before, Joanna Jedrzej, also known as the greatest female strawweight fighter. She was the first female European champion and holds the record for the most consecutive victories in the UFC strawweight title fights. Also, her fight against Strawwelly at the UFC 248 became the fight of the year in 2020. Jedrzej started her career as a kickboxer but soon became interested in MMA. She was known for her exceptional striking and held an undefeated record for the most of her career. And then, like we said, Rose Namajunas beat her at UFC 217, which was her first defeat after 14 straight victories, actually. Many MMA experts and UFC commentators credited her for putting the strawweight division on the map. She had 5 successful strawweight championship defenses, which is still a record to this day. Unfortunately, she did announce her retirement in 2022 at a career record of 16-5, 4 KO. Ranked 4th is Valentina Shevchenko, who holds the record for most title defenses by any woman in UFC history, and she's remained the UFC Women's Flyweight Champion and is currently number 3 in the UFC Women's Pound-for-Pound rankings. She's known by her nickname, The Bullet. Valentina Shevchenko is quick to adapt between striking and grappling because of her Muay Thai and kickboxing background. However, her striking ability is the best among active women's fighters, in my opinion. She is active in the flyweight division with a career record of 23-4-1, 8 KO. Valentina Shevchenko and Antonina Shevchenko hold the record for the first female sibling duo to work on the same UFC card. Valentina Shevchenko became Women's UFC Fighter of the Year in 2022 after her successful title defense at UFC 275. Moving on to top 3, at 3rd is Ronda Rousey. I feel like this should be no surprise at all. I talked about her in a video before of the fight that changed history. I recommend checking that out. The video was live streamed last week and I really enjoyed talking about that fight. So Rousey became the first female UFC Hall of Fame inductee, and she transitioned to a professional wrestler and won multiple world championships in WWE. Her undefeated streak and charismatic personality helped catapult women's MMA into the mainstream. Rousey became famous for her outstanding skills, judo-based grappling, and arm bars. Ronda Rousey remained undefeated in her first 12 MMA fights before losing to Holly Holm. I'm so sorry, guys. Rousey announced her retirement, unfortunately, with a career record of 12-2, 3 KO. She had countless records in the UFC, one being the inaugural UFC Women's Bantamweight Champion. Ronda Rousey is the only female fighter among the 10 highest paid UFC fighters of all time, which is just a little fun fact. It's pretty cool to know that. At second, also not a surprise, is Cris Cyborg, who is the number 1 in the Bellator Women's Pound-for-Pound rankings. Her 21 KO victories are the most by any female MMA fighter. Cyborg has been a dominant MMA force and on top for almost 2 decades. Her notable achievements include winning the featherweight championships in the UFC, Bellator, Strikeforce, and Invicta FC, making her the only MMA fighter to become a Grand Slam champion. Cyborg has an impressive MMA record of 27-1, 21 KO. Cyborg also has incredible knockout power, as we know, which really adds to the list of best MMA knockout artist list. And finally, at first is Amanda Nunes. She is the first and only female fighter to retire as a multi-divisional champion in the UFC. She simultaneously held the bantamweight and featherweight titles, defending them in 11 successful defenses. She is known as the Lioness and has held the titles in both the bantamweight and featherweight division in the UFC. She's the only fighter in MMA history who beat Ronda Rousey, Chris Cyborg, and Holly Holm. Amanda Nunes ended Ronda Rousey's career badly by knocking her out in the first minute, actually. Nunes was a complete fighter who knew when to use strikes, how to grapple, and where to apply submissions. Her versatility and aggressive approach led to many quick finishes, making her the greatest of all time. Obviously, she's ranked first on this list, so... She ended her career with an overall record of 23-5, 13 KO. So that completes our list of the top 10 women's MMA fighters. I'm so sorry. A lot of abbreviations. It gets confusing sometimes. And we're now going to move on to our next segment, where we're going to talk about the 2024 Core Hydration Classics, which gives us some information on the upcoming Olympic gymnast. Before we get to that, we are going to be taking a short break. So I will see you guys very soon.
Looking for your daily fix of sports talk without having to pay for it? GSMC Sports Network is available on YouTube. Just search GSMC Sports Network. Get your fix of daily sports talk shows on YouTube, absolutely free. NFL, college football, NBA, MLB, MMA, UFC, fantasy football, and so much more. GSMC Sports Network has shows running all day long, with new sports shows starting every 2 hours. Just like on your favorite cable sports channel, except GSMC Sports Network is absolutely free. Just search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube to catch one of your new favorite shows, like the GSMC College Football Podcast, Chip Shot Football Podcast, Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast, GSMC Basketball Podcast, and so many more. Check it out for yourself. GSMC Sports Network, now available on YouTube absolutely free. Search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube right now.
Hello everybody, welcome back. Thank you guys for coming back on. We are now going to be talking about something else, not MMA fighting. So we just got done talking about the top 10 best women's MMA fighters. Now switching over to gymnastics, where we're going to be talking about the 2024 Core Hydration Classics. I am so excited to talk about this. The classics were held May 17th to the 18th, and the competition was so fierce. It was so amazing to watch. You can still watch the videos on the Paris 2024 Olympics TikTok page, and also there's a lot of the top 10 competitors, their events recorded and were posted on YouTube. So if y'all missed it, I recommend checking those videos out. They're stunning performances, so amazing. You will not be disappointed. So we're gonna start and talk about the classics. Simone Biles dominated the competition without a shock, and she made headlines, and her videos of her events have been going viral all over TikTok. So Biles, of course, won first in the all-around with a total score of 59.5. She was absolutely amazing. I did say that she was training to do some very competitive, more dangerous moves, but she didn't really do anything that was not something that she's done before, which is actually a good thing, because sometimes it's like, are you going to risk it? Are you going to take it? In gymnastics, it can vary, and she can save all that for the Olympic trials as well. But anyway, getting back to the core classics, she soared through the air when she performed the Yurchenko double pike, the most difficult vault in women's gymnastics that now bears Biles' name. Unlike last year, Biles did good without her coach standing on the mat for safety, but it ended up leading her into a half-point deduction. So she didn't do, like, it was good last year, but it wasn't her best. Let me just say that, okay? But she ended up getting a half-point deduction on that and the mat. And on an element that requires so much height, Biles remarkably had too much power and took a couple of large steps backwards that year. But she stayed on her feet to earn a 15.6 this year, which is the highest mark of the evening. She secured routines on beam at 14.55 points for second place and floor 14.8 for first place. And then on the beam, what stood out to me the most was her perfect wolf turns. I literally cannot explain how perfect they were in words. Wolf turns on beam require so much amazing balance, and she was absolutely flawless. And honestly, like whenever you see anybody do wolf turns, like it seems like they can lose their balance really quickly, but she made it look so easy. And that's something that Biles definitely does differently than any competitor out there, is she makes everything look so easy, which is so impressive because we all know it's not easy. And then she finished the meet on bars, which is her weakest event, as we know, but she made it smoothly without any errors and finished with a score of 14.55. Last year, Biles proved she was still the best gymnast in the world despite what happened in Tokyo when her gold medal hopes unraveled because of a disorienting mental block. After she withdrew from multiple finals, her competitive future seemed uncertain, really. Biles eventually eased back into training and then to competition last summer. As she prepares for her third Olympics, Biles didn't simply replicate her routines from her successful 2023 season, though. She had more difficult skills. She performed the triple twisting double tuck on floor, another skill named for Biles, but one she didn't include in her last year routine. She also unveiled a new dismount combination on bars. She did have some points deducted on her floor routine for stepping out of bounds a couple of times, though. But still, I'm excited to see these other quote dangerous moves that she has planned for Olympic trials and the Olympics. Second place did come at a bit of a shock for me. Not really a shock. I have to explain that. I really thought Jordan Chiles would have placed second, skipping her reputation and records last year, but she placed third, so she still did extremely well. Charlize Jones placed second, and I mean, this isn't surprising at all. Like, we all know she's an amazing gymnast. She's like so famous for all of her skills. But still, I don't know why, but I just really thought that Chiles was going to place second. Anyway, she finished with a score of 57.65 in the all-around, about 2 full points behind Biles. Charlize Jones won bronze in the 2023 World All-Around, so really not a shocker to win second this year, but I mean, just the reason that I was shocked because of Chiles' improvement this year, and also just, I don't know why, I just really thought that she was going to be second. Anyway, Jones competed and hit an upgraded scale, the layout Jaeger, for the first time, and Jones was the only athlete in the competition to receive a score above 15 on the uneven bars with a 15.25, which is super impressive. Jones said, "It definitely boosted my confidence for sure. This is a brand new bar routine for me, so presenting it and hitting it clean like I was capable of doing in practice, I felt so many emotions going on. We changed my routine around like not even 3 weeks ago. It's something I wanted to add for a while, and I feel like it fits me well and it's super fun to do. Hitting it tonight just felt great." Jones had the next highest score in vault in the competition with a 14.35, and then on the beam she finished with a score of 14.05, and on the floor she finished with a score of 14. In third place, as I said, is Jordan Chiles. She is the Tokyo Olympic team silver medalist. She finished with a score of 55.45 in the other round. Her floor routine was what really stood out to me. It was very graceful, strong, and speedy all at the same time. She finished with a score of 13.35, which was her lowest score, and that shocked me a bit. I loved her routine. She did have some deductions going out of bounds, and she stumbled on some of her landings, but still I felt like she had a beautiful performance regardless. On the vault, she got a score of 14.1. On beam, she had a score of 13.7, and on the bar, she had a score of 14.3. In fourth was Jade Carey, who is so beautiful, so stunning, and really never fails to impress me. Both her vaults were really good. She had a tiny jump on both of her finishes, but it was so small, like so minor. Her vault score was 14.3, which is very close to top 3 scores. Her floor routine was very well done as well, and her toes were pointed perfectly. She honestly looked like a trained dancer up there. She finished with a score of 13.8 on the floor, which is better than Chiles' floor event. On bars, she finished with a score of 12.85, which dragged her score down a lot. If she had done much better on bars, she would have been more close competition to Chiles' third place finish. On beam, Carey finished with a score of 13.45, which is pretty good, but I think she deserved a higher score. Yes, I am not a qualified gymnastics judge, but I felt like her routine was so beautiful, so she should have gotten extra points for that if that was a thing. Her all-around score was 54.4, pretty close to Childs' all-around score. At 5th place is Sky Blakely. She has not gotten much media attention, I feel like, so this is good to see her at 5th. Her all-around score was 54.35, which is so close to Jade Carey's score. Her vault score was 14.05, her bar score was 13.2, her beam score was 13.85, and her floor score was 13.25. Her floor score was the 7th best, and her bar score was the 10th best. She is the younger sister of gymnast Simone Biles, so that is one of the main ways of how she made her name known, pretty much. She's only 19 years old, which is insane, so she hasn't really done much of college gymnastics yet, so just going straight out to the classics is really impressive. She also trained at Woga Gymnastics, which is the same place where Gabby Douglas trains at, and we will be getting into Gabby Douglas later, I promise. At 6 was Tiana Sumansekara. I'm going to be honest, I haven't really heard much about her. The only thing I know her from is that she is the 2023 Pan-American all-around and balance beam champion. Anyway, for the beam, she finished with a score of 13.0, which isn't that great considering she is known for the beam last year. Still, it is a very great score, I want to say that, but I would have thought she would be placing higher in the beam. It was a beautiful routine though, just saying. On the bars, she got a score of 13.15, her vault had a score of 13.85, and her floor had a score of 13.9. She did very well overall and had an all-around score for 53.9. At 7th was Leanne Wong. She was a member of the gold medal winning teams at the 2022 World Championships, 2023 World Championships, and the 2019 Pan American Games. She had an overall score of 53.45 in the classics. Her beam score was 12.4, her floor score was 13.25, her bar score was 13.85, and her vault score was 13.95. From 5th to 10th place, I just want to say all the scores get very close, as you can see, so it does get a bit confusing. At 8th place, this is where I'm literally like, I don't know, like when I saw this, my mouth was like dropped to the floor, is Dulcie Kaylor. She had an overall score at 53. Her floor score was 12.75, her beam score was also 12.75, her bar score was 13.7, and her vault score was 13.8. The reason I was so in awe with her is because she's literally 16 years old. She is still in high school. That is insane. And I'm really hoping she continues competing professionally, and I bet she's going to be literally dominating in the next couple of years for sure. At 9th place was Kalia Lincoln, who also trains at Woga Gymnastics. Her overall score was 52.7, her vault score was 13.65, her bar score was 13.1, her beam score was 11.95, and her floor score was 14. And then at 10th, there was a tie. Kaylee DiCello and Jocelyn Robertson both finished with a score of 52.5 in all around. Robertson finished her vault with a score of 13.55, her bars had a score of 13.2, her beam had a score of 13.45, and her floor event had a score of 12.3. DiCello's vault score was 13.65, her bar score was 12.7, her beam score was 13.5, and her floor event had a score of 12.65. So Robertson beat Chaychella in the bars event only, but because Chaychella's score was so much lower on the bars than Robertson, that's why they basically tied when you add up all the scores. If Chaychella did better on the bars, Chaychella could definitely have placed 10th and Robertson would have been in 11th place. Now, to finish up this segment, let's talk about Sunisa Lee and Gabby Douglas. Lee did not compete in the all-around. She opted out of uneven bars, her best event, and had clean performances on the other three apparatuses headlined by the 14.5 that earned her first place on the beam. Her combined score of 40.65 hit the 3-event standard to qualify for the all-around at the U.S. Championships from May 30th to June 2nd. Gabby Douglas, on the other hand, returned to Elite Gymnastics 2024 for the first time since the 2016 Olympic Games, But she had a rocky start to the meet with 2 falls in her first rotation on the uneven bars. She ended up withdrawing from the competition after the first rotation and did not complete the rest of the events in the all-around. Douglas also had a pair of falls on bars in the American Classic in April. The 28-year-old is already qualified for the U.S. Gymnastics Championships in every event except floor exercise, so she can still compete in those individually. However, because Douglas finished an all-around at the American Classic without meeting the qualifying standard, she will not be able to compete in all 4 events of the national championship, unfortunately. It is a bit sad that she won't be competing in all events, but at least we will get to see her more. So we're now going to move on to our next segment where we're going to talk about the USA VNL team. Before that, we are going to be taking a very short break, so I will see you guys really soon.
For the best and latest podcasts available anywhere, go to the podcast app on your cell phone and type in GSMC. To access free content-rich podcasts on health and wellness, book reviews, sports, entertainment, relationships, social media, movies, technology, finance, and even weird news. Subscribe and download the GSMC Podcast Network's family of shows, available everywhere podcasts are found.
Hello guys, welcome back. We just got done talking about the 2024 Core Hydration Classics, and we're now going to move on to volleyball, where we're going to be talking about the Volleyball Nations League Team USA. So, international volleyball tournaments like the Volleyball Nations League play a crucial role in sports as we know. They foster global competition and unity by bringing together teams from diverse backgrounds to compete at the highest levels. These events not only promote sportsmanship and cultural exchange, but also drive the development of volleyball through heightened standards and increased investment in training and facilities. They provide a platform for talent discovery and career advancements with young talents often scouted for professional opportunities. Moreover, these tournaments have a significant impact on promoting gender equality, with women's volleyball receiving substantial attention and respect on the international stage. This visibility encourages participation at all levels, inspiring young girls worldwide to engage in sports and pursue excellence, and showcases female athletes excelling in their fields. Overall, international volleyball not only enhances the sport's quality and excitement, but also serves broader societal, cultural, and economic objectives, making it a vital component of the international sports landscapes, which is why I would like to take some time to recognize some of the players on Team USA. The first player I wanted to recognize is Jordan Larson. I'm going to pull up a picture of her. I'm so sorry. There we go. So we all have heard her name before. We all have seen pictures of her. She's a very well-known in the world of volleyball. Jordan Larson is from Fremont, Nebraska, and this is where she started playing volleyball. She went on to play collegiately at the University of Nebraska, leading her team to a national championship in 2006. Her collegiate career set the stage for her dominance on the international scene. Larson joined Team USA in 2009, and since then she has been an integral part of the team's success. She's known for her powerful serves and strategic attacks. Larson has helped the team secure multiple medals on the world stage, including Olympic bronze in 2016 and a much celebrated silver medal in the 2020 Tokyo Olympics. But it's not just her on-court strength that makes Larson stand out. Her leadership qualities are very admirable. As the captain of the team, Larson's influence extends beyond her athletic performance. She's a mentor and a role model, known for her calm demeanor and ability to inspire her teammates in high-pressure situations. Off the court, Larson's impact continues. She's actively involved in community service and often participates in volleyball camps and clinics. Larson uses her platform to inspire the next generation of athletes, emphasizing the importance of hard work, resilience, and teamwork, and that is something that is very respectable. Her accolades include numerous international tournament honors and MVP awards. Jordan Larson isn't just a player. She really is a volleyball icon whose legacy will influence the sport for many years to come. As we watch her career continue, whether on the national team or in her professional engagements around the world, it's clear that Larson is a player who comes once in a lifetime. With her at the helm, the future of American volleyball looks incredibly bright, in my opinion. Next, we're going to talk about Kelsey Robertson. Robertson's journey began at Wheaton St. Francis High School in Illinois, where she helped her team secure a state championship. This early promise was fully realized at the University of Nebraska, the same place Jordan Larson played at, and Robertson transferred after 2 seasons at the University of Tennessee. She earned numerous awards during her collegiate career, including the 2013 Big Ten Player of the Year and an unanimous selection of the All-10 Big Ten First Team. On the international stage, Robertson made her debut with Team USA in 2014, quickly establishing herself as a versatile player capable of making significant impacts as an outside hitter. Her impeccable play contributed to the team's gold medal at the 2014 FIVB World Championships, where her performance of both offense and defense was pivotal. And then in the 2016 Olympic Games in Rio, Kelsey was instrumental in helping Team USA secure a bronze medal. Her remarkable consistency and strategic plays throughout a tournament showcased her critical role in the team. Robertson's list of international honors is extensive. She has been part of multiple medal-winning squads in the FIVB Volleyball Nations League, contributing significantly to the team's gold in 2019, where her all-around skills were on full display. Her ability to perform under pressure was further evidence in the 2019 FIVB World Cup, where the USA team secured silver thanks in no small part to Robertson's robust defensive and offensive contributions. One of Robertson's historic plays that fans still talk about occurred during a crucial Nations League match. With the score tied and the pressure mounting, Kelsey served a series of aces that not only clinched the set for the USA, but also shifted the momentum of the entire match, ultimately leading to a win. Off the court, Kelsey is known for her engaging presence on social media, where she shares insights into her training regimen, nutrition, and travels, inspiring an entire generation of young athletes. Her commitment to excellence extends beyond volleyball as she advocates for athlete welfare and women's sports. Now we're going to talk about Avery Skinner, who is my favorite person to watch, and I guess she's my favorite person on the team, to be honest. I'm not trying to be biased, but she is. I really, really enjoy watching her. Her volleyball journey is notable for its strong collegiate foundation. She played for the University of Kentucky and was a key player in leading her team to its first ever NCAA championship in 2020. Her performance throughout the tournament was really, really good. Shortly after her collegiate triumph, Skinner made her debut with Team USA, bringing fresh energy and a powerful attacking style to the squad. Her transition from college to the international level was seamless, and that is truly remarkable. A lot of times we see players go from the collegiate level to the professional or international level, and they seem a bit behind or aren't up to the standards, but have that potential, if that makes sense. But no, Skinner literally just filled right in, like she had been playing with the team for years. Skinner was part of the team at the Pan American Cup, where she helped the U.S. secure a medal, showcasing her skills against some of the top international teams. One of Skinner's most memorable plays came during this tournament, where she executed a series of spikes that not only won crucial points, but also demonstrated her ability to perform under pressure. Her technique and power are remarkable for her experience level, making her one of the key USA young players to strengthen the team's roster. Skinner's potential was recognized early on, and she's living up to it every time she steps on the court. Her awards and honors are just beginning to accumulate, but her impact is already significant. With each game, she continues to refine her skills and adapt to the fast pace and competitive nature of international volleyball. Off the court, Skinner is known for her dedication and work ethic. Her commitment to improving her game and her physical fitness sets a strong example for aspiring volleyball players, for sure. Skinner's journey is a testament to where talent, hard work, and perseverance can lead, and she's just getting started. As we watch Skinner's career unfold, it's exciting to think about the future and how she will continue to evolve and possibly become one of the greats in USA volleyball history. With her on the roster, the team's prospects look bright, and because she's so young, I feel like she will be on the team for quite a while and much longer, which makes me very optimistic for the team itself. So we just went over these iconic players, and I wanted to say one thing. A lot of the team's work relies upon the coaching strategies and styles, so I wanted to turn our focus to behind the scenes to the strategic genius guiding Team USA, Karch Kiraly. As one of volleyball's most celebrated figures, both as a player and now as a coach, Kiraly's impact on the USA women's volleyball team has really been transformative. Karch Kiraly took over as head coach of the USA women's national team in 2012, bringing with him a true understanding of the game with experience from decades of playing at the highest levels. As the only person ever to win Olympic gold in both indoor and beach volleyball, Karai's transition to coaching went really, really well. His philosophy revolves around a lot of preparation, detailed preparation, mental toughness, and a profound understanding of each player's strengths and weaknesses. Under his leadership, the team has adopted a highly analytical approach. He emphasizes data and video analysis to break down opponents' strategies and to refine his own team's tactics. This methodological approach has led to notable successes, including a World Championship gold in 2014 and Olympic bronze in 2016, followed by silver at the Tokyo 2020 Games. Karai's coaching style is also characterized by his unique communication skills. He fosters an environment where players are encouraged to express their views, leading to a cohesive team unit that thrives on mutual respect and open dialogue, which is always great to see. This has been crucial in high-pressure situations where clear communication can be the difference between a win and a loss, really. Karai's training sessions are renowned for their intensity and focus on fundamentals. He pushes players to perfect their techniques, which has resulted in some of the most disciplined and technically sound players in the international arena. His belief in continuous improvement and is a mantra that every player on the team lives by, really. As we look forward to more competitions, it's clear that Karai's legacy as a coach is as impactful as his legacy as a player. As we look ahead to the future of Team USA and the Volleyball Nations League, the combination of seasoned leaders like Jordan Larson and Kelsey Robertson with emerging talents like Avery Skinner under the guidance of Coach Karai promises a strong trajectory for the team. Jordan Larson's vast experience and exceptional leadership qualities, paired with Kelsey Robertson's versatility and tactical skills, set a solid foundation for the team. And then meanwhile, Avery Skinner represents the vibrant future of the team, bringing fresh energy and impressive skills to the forefront. Hopefully, the USA team will use more of their skills and players to dominate the league, since they recently lost to China last Thursday. I'm hoping to see how the team continues to do, and I want these players to continue getting recognition that they deserve despite recent losses. So we're now going to move on to our final segment, where we're going to talk about the Mizuho Americas Open that took place from the 16th to the 19th. Before we begin our discussion, we will be taking a very short break, so I will see you guys very soon. Hello everybody, welcome back. Thank you guys for staying until the end. I'm very excited for this last segment. So we just got done talking about the Volleyball Nations League, Team USA to be specific, and we're now going to move on to talk about women's golf, the Mizuho Americas Open. Nelly Korda won the competition, and Korda is just the fourth golfer in LPGA Tour history to win 6 times before June 1st. What even number was I trying to say? I'm so sorry. June 1st. It's a Monday, so, Anyway, so she won a back 9 showdown with Hannah Green of Australia with a par on the 18th hole to capture the Mizuho Americas Open by a stroke Sunday for her 6th win in 7 starts on the LPGA Tour this year. The victory made the 25-year-old American the first player since NB Park to record 6 wins in a single season. Korda said, "Oh my gosh, 6, I can't even really gather myself right now with that. The head-to-head that Hannah and I had pretty much all day. Wasn't my best stuff out there today, but fought really hard on the back 9. It was just amazing to share the stage with Hannah." Korda also bounced back from seeing her record-tying 5 tournament winning streak snapped last week by Rose Shawn at the Cognizant Founders Cup. Shawn withdrew Thursday after 3 holes with an intestinal issue. After playing the front 9 and 2 over, Korda matched birdies with Green on the 10th, 13th, and 15th holes at Scenic Liberty National to stay tied with Green, whose 2 wins this year made her the only other multiple winner on tour this year. Korda, the third round leader by 2 shots, shot a final round 71 and finished at 14 under 274. Green had a 70 and finished at 275. After Korda put her drive in the fairway on the par 4, number 18, Green pulled her drive into the left rough. Her second to the green was short and left her still in the rough. After Korda hit her approach to 15 feet from the hole, Green's chip over a bunker landed 10 feet in front of the hole and then rolled back a little. Korda putted to tap in range and finished out, while Green's putt to extend the tournament to a playoff never touched the hole. Korda then raised her hands and accepted the cheers from the crowd in this event, held the view of the New York City skyline and Statue of Liberty in the background. It was beautiful. Jennifer Kupcho, who lost this event in a playoff with Shawn last year, finished tied for third with a rookie Gabriella Ruffles of Australia and Arya Jutanagarn and Shaneti Wanasian, both of Thailand. Playing hours before the leaders teed off, Wanasian had the best round of the day with a 7 under 65. Jutanagarn had a 70, Kupcho shot 71, and Ruffles had a 72 and finishing third for the second straight week. After being tied for the lead by Ayaka Furu of Japan and Kupcho with 9 holes to play, Korda and Green turned the tournament into a 2-player race with their matching birdies to open a 4-shot lead over the rest of the field. And I mean, it really became a 2-person race by then. When one hit it close, the other followed. Furu finished in a large group at 9 under, though. The win was the 14th for Korda, and she joined a list of players who have won 6 times in a year since 1980. Betsy Keane, Anika Sorenstam, Kari Webb, Lorena Ochoa, Beth Daniel, and Yanni Sang. Korda earned $450,000, bringing her career earnings to $11,880,981 and her season earnings to $2,943,708. Rose Shawn snapped Korda's run with a win last Sunday at the Cognizant Founders Cup, like I said, recording a 2-shot victory over Sweden's Madeline Sandström, and Korda finished the event tied for 7th at this. There was much hype surrounding Shawn, who won last year's Mizuho Americas Open in her pro debut, entering this year's tournament. But, she had a withdrawal due to an illness after completing 3 holes Thursday. Jean was among 10 players who withdrew from the event in the first 2 days, with 7 of those withdrawals due to various illnesses and the others due to injuries, according to the LPGA. So it's really sad to see that. Thitikul, who has 2 LPGA career wins in 2022 and already pocketed $3.85 million in career earnings, finished 12th in the Chevron and missed the cut by a stroke in the Cognizant Founders Cup last week. She switched putters this week and it clicked in the second round. It could have been better too. A long birdie putt at number 18 lipped out, and her recent winning streak that Jean snapped last week, Korda trailed by 5 shots at the Zeri Pac Championship, by 4 at the Ford Championship, and 6 strokes in the T-Mobile match play, where the field was cut after the 3rd round. She did win them all though. Lee and Saigo were Thursday's addition to the field, and because of late withdrawals, they found themselves at the top of the leaderboard after 18 and were still there Friday, impressively. Lee had a 71, 1 shot more than Saigo. The most interesting part of Lee's round was a change of caddies. After attending his son's graduation from elementary in Orlando, Florida, regular caddy Andrew Tomasi arrived and took over the bag from Lee's father, To Yan. Lee, a 5-time winner on the Korean LPGA, laughed when it was pretty funny. Thitikul said, When I came here, playing Chevron, be able to play golf again, it just clicked and changed my mind. Just be able to play golf, it's good enough for me. It's just go enjoy, just do the best you can do out there. So just to make this clearer, here are the final scores I'm going to display on the screen for y'all. It's always so much easier for me to see things visually, so hopefully this helps because there's like a lot of numbers and everything involved, a lot of names too. So like we said, Nelly Korda at first finished with -14. Hannah Green in second finish was -13. And then we have a huge tie at third with a final score of -10. Jennifer Kupcho, Gabriella Ruffles, Aria Jutanagarn, and Shanette Iwanasian all tied at third. And then at fourth, which was also technically seventh, was another large tie at a final score of -9. Marina Alex, Yuna Nishimura, Athea Fidakul, Ayaka Faru, Kim Se-young, and Bianca Padanganan were tied at seventh. And then at fifth, or technically 14th place, there was a tie at a final score of -8. Andrea Lee, Lauren Coughlin, Sophia Papo, Nana Quartz Madsen, Chuningi, Nasa Ahataoka, and Megan Kong. Now at 6th or 21st place was a final score of -7. Ellie Ewing, Moriah Jutanagarn, Aliso Kinj, Celine Bortier, Parari, Anan. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I'm so bad at pronouncing last names. I am so sorry. Pahari, Anna Narukarn, Ashley Buhai, and Minji Lee. And then at 7th are tied at 28th place with a score of -6. Lin Chi-yu, Stacy Lewis, Amy Yang, Jenny Sheen, and Lee So-mi. And we're going to finish this off with 33rd place, which is also technically 8th place. Obviously, there's more people in the competition, but we're just going to stop here. There's a lot of people. Miles Sigo was the only one who finished in 33rd place with a final score of -5. So that concludes our show for today. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to the GSMC Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast presented by the GSMC Sports Network. Your support means a lot to us, so please remember to subscribe to the show and leave a positive review. It really does make a difference. We also invite you to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram for more content and updates. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I really hope you guys have a wonderful day. Thank you guys so much once again, and have a wonderful day.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired.